everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm really excited to be doing a collab with my bestie KYLA'S. She is one of my favorite people on this platform, and I've done many collabs with her. I've done a bunch of collabs with her, and also I did one recently in December, and a lot of you were really excited to see me collab with her, so we decided to collab again because we both wanted to film a video on this topic, so it just made sense to kind of do it at the same time, so that way you could watch both of our videos and kind of get a perspective on both, because honestly, I will probably agree with everything she says because we hold very similar viewpoints. So we are doing a video all about brands we don't support, just because it's just, I will mention, she goes more in depth in her everyday videos, but I will mention all the time, like, oh, I don't support this brand. And I don't really go into detail because I just don't want that to be the focus of my video of giving that brand my energy. I just don't want to support them, and a lot of you guys ask questions about why I don't support them, so I figured this could be a video just where I can put everything into one place. This isn't going to be a video listing every single brand I don't support because I'm gonna forget some, and also my views can change on some of these, so if a brand either fixes the problem or whatever it may be and you see me using them in the future, or if I don't mention that I don't support it, I don't know what it may be. Just don't take this video as getting mad at me in the future for either not including a brand on this list or whatever it may be. So this is just a video of a lot of the brands that I commonly say I don't support, and a lot of you guys ask questions on why I don't. So this is what's going to be in this video. I highly recommend checking out KYLA'S. She is so sweet and also just so passionate about issues like these. I am as well, but she really goes more in depth than I do and goes harder. She's a Leo, I'm a Cancer, so I think it makes sense on why she goes a lot harder and I'm very soft about it, but I definitely feel just as passionate as she does. I just sometimes don't vocalize those viewpoints as much just because I want my channel to not be focused on giving those brands my energy. I instead just don't want to include them on my channel. So we're just both going to go into this all in one video, so in the future everyone can be linked to this video. So highly recommend checking her out. I love her, all those things. I'm probably forgetting stuff to say, but definitely go check her out. So the first brand that I decided to talk about is one that I own a lot of for my collection, and it is Hourglass. I have a lot of these products and a lot of them are pretty recent to my collection, and honestly they have never been that inclusive. I think in their foundation and concealer lines, I think they have a good shade range. I honestly haven't looked into it, but I think they have a pretty good shade range in those. But with their bronzers, I've looked recently. I actually have one of their bronzers, and like I love it. But like I'm pretty sure this bronzer range is not inclusive at all. And so that's one thing. And then okay, so this might be really ranty, but I don't want to straight out cancel brands for doing like one thing. Because first of all, like I can cancel whoever I want and cancel, just not buy from them. But like at the end of the day, I don't know how to put this in a good way. I think Khaki did a video recently on this. I am not the one to decide what brand is canceled. I don't want you to take this video as in like you shouldn't support these brands, but a lot of the times I will just support some brands, and if they have a product with a bad shade range, I just won't buy that specific product. And sometimes I'll buy other things from them. So example, Charlotte Tilbury, I buy things from Charlotte Tilbury and I still support her and buy her products because I love her products. But something like the Film Star Bronson Glow is not something I am buying because that product has a bad shade range. But something like her Big Airbrush Bronzer has a good shade range, and I do have that bronzer. So there are brands like that where I just don't support the products themselves that have a bad shade range. But things like Hourglass is just a brand that I'm flat out, I'm not supporting this brand for the foreseeable future because they have bad shade ranges in their products that are existing. And my main reason that was like the nail in the head for a lot of people was their Lume Sheer Trio recently relaunched after taking over a year, probably 2 years, to reformulate it. And a lot of people were thinking that they were going to add more shades to it because they only have one shade in it, and it's a light bronzer, a light highlight, and a light blush. And they came out with it and it's the same exact shade. And they have just been deflecting comments asking like, where are you coming out with more shades of this? They've ignored Sam Ravindal every time they've asked her, or every time she's asked about including more shade ranges. And it was just kind of like, oh, so you really don't care because it's a new product. There's a difference between a really old shade range that is bad and it needs fixing versus coming out with a new product that has a bad shade range right out the gate. So that was kind of the nail on the head for me, and I'm not supporting Hourglass at the moment. I still am going to use their products. I'm not going to declutter them. I do enjoy their products, I'm not going to lie, but I just can't support a brand that just straight out doesn't care about deeper skin tones, because it's not that they didn't know about it or they just haven't extended the shade ranges. They're just continually coming out with products that don't even include them, and people have brought it to their attention and they don't care. So that is a brand I'm flat out not supporting anything from the brand. I know that's a brand I've gotten the most questions about just because it's a well-loved brand on Instagram and stuff. So another brand that I'm just currently not supporting anything from the brand is Nudestix, and I have Nudestix in my collection. I think I have like 5 things from them, 4 blushes and an eyebrow pencil. And I'm not gonna lie, I see a lot of people talk about Nudestix and they say that they have a good bronzer shade range, but I honestly don't see it. A lot of my friends on Instagram that have a deeper skin tone use the shade Sunkissed as a bronzer and it looks like a blush on them. And they comment about that it's just like not something they can use as a bronzer. And I just don't see where the good bronzer shade range is. I think they have a lot of shades for light people. I think they have all of their shades I could wear as different tones and stuff for my skin tone, but I don't think it goes very deep. I think they just have different varieties, and a lot of their blushes run very light, and like their highlighters too. Like the deepest highlighter is something that my skin tone could wear. So I don't know. I just don't think Nudestix has a good shade range in general, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't understand why people with my skin tone say that it's a good shade range, because personally I don't see it. But the nail on the head was their concealer launch, and I'm sure some of you might have seen it. Yeah, so their concealer launch was pretty recently. It was in this fall, I want to say. Hello. And so there was just a whole lot going on about this. I don't even know all of the things, but they first of all did not make an evenly distributed shade range, so there was like 2 deep shades, but they, like on their swatches, they were trying to say that there was more deep shades, but they double swatched something. So they would say that like 2 of the shades were deep, but those were the shades that were in the medium category. They just swatched them twice on different skin tones, which is not like the biggest crime in the world, but you can't claim that you have certain number of deep shades when you really don't. And their concealer didn't go that deep, but they had a ton of light shades. And another thing was when people were calling them out about it, they just kind of were ignoring it. They were being rude about it. They were claiming that the shade range was good instead of actually listening to criticism, and they just kind of ignored all of their claims that they made during the Black Lives Matter movement about doing better. And what bothers me is when a brand has a bad shade range and they release a product and they get like feedback about it, they don't listen to the feedback. And I know a lot of these things are like, well, it's hard for a brand to do that because at the end of the day, they're still a brand and they can't act like a person on Instagram. And I get that, but they shouldn't come back with fire. They should instead like say, thank you for the feedback. We will take this into consideration and expand more shades. Like, you could say that. I just don't get why they would just flat out be like, no, you're stupid. We have enough shades. Like, I don't think that's really right of them to say. And it's just a brand that's like, they already weren't inclusive in the first place, and this was just kind of a thing that's like, it's going to take a while for me to go back to supporting them, because this is just like not a good look for them. I'm not good at putting my thoughts to words in this because I'm the type of person that needs to think a long time and needs to write like things down perfectly. My cat sits here and she like bites the cardboard and rips it. So I'm sorry about that, but yeah, this isn't going to be concise. This is just like a general idea of brands I'm not supporting with my general reasoning, because I don't know, just don't critique this video too much. This isn't me trying to preach to the heavens about things or like telling you what to do. This is just me like, this is why like brands I'm not currently buying from. Anyways, I'm going to speak about 2 brands in the same breath, and those are RMS and Lila B. 2 brands that I don't really know much about because I've never purchased from them, and also 2 brands that I'm just not supporting as a brand as a whole because they are both uninclusive. RMS, I know they had something that they were saying like, we don't feel the need to speak on Black Lives Matter, which I think is a bad statement for them, but I also think it was taken a little bit out of context in this situation, because I think sometimes we view brands as people when at the end of the day they are brands and they have people working for them. And I think when this was all happening, it just happened at a bad time for them. And I'm not making an excuse, but I think that's not the bad part of what they did. I think them saying we don't have a response right now, they should have worded differently, but I understand why they wouldn't have a response, because they aren't a person like me that's on my phone and I can just act like a person. It's a brand that has to uphold an image and get approval for things that they send out. So I think that was bad on their part for how they worded it, but I don't think that's the reason why I don't support them because I just think that they don't have a good shade range in general. I think they've come out with some products with a better shade range, but I think the brand falls in the category of clean beauty that just a lot of clean beauty doesn't have a good shade range, and I'm not gonna support them. I wasn't planning on buying anything from them anyways, and so I'm just avoiding the brand as a whole because I know their bronzer shade range is not something that is inclusive to my audience. Same with Lila B, they have one bronzer shade and that's enough for me to just be done with the brand. It's not that I think the brand is worthy of canceling as a whole, and I'm only treading lightly because I know I've seen KYLA'S videos and some of the feedback she gets is pretty harsh from a few certain people who really like these brands. And with RMS and Lila B, I've never tried anything from them. Oh my gosh, she's just pushing everything. Are you okay? Anyways, they're just brands that I'm not saying like I'm flat out thinking everyone should cancel them. I just think they have bad shade ranges, so I don't want to support them anyways, and they're brands that I never tried anything from and I'm not interested in, so I don't really care if I say I'm not going to support the brand as a whole because I wasn't supporting them in the first place. So those are just two brands where bronzer shade ranges are not good and I'm not supporting them. Also, by the way, I'm not including the obvious brands like Too Faced and Jeffree Star. I obviously don't support those two brands. I don't buy a lot of different brands, I would say, so I'm not going to include brands that I literally wasn't supporting in the first place, regardless of their shade ranges. One that I'm not actively like avoiding because I'm not purchasing from them anyways, but I'm making sure to not really purchase from them is Anastasia Beverly Hills. I don't know the full story on it, but I know that they had an issue with one of their influencers that they were working with. They weren't paying her fairly, and they also just caused a whole issue with like not giving her the right contracts, demanding that she make more content than she agreed to, and just disrespecting a lot of the Black community. And Jackie Ina actually like reposted that girl's story, which makes it more valid because Jackie Ina worked with Anastasia. So it's not a brand, I don't have a lot of info about it, so please don't roast me in the comments. It's just a brand that I heard info about and I keep it in the back of my mind about something that I don't want to support. Another one is Milk Makeup, not one that I buy anything from in the first place, but I do know that they had some issues with Black employees that they were really disrespecting and not listening to their feedback when they brought about the attention that their shade ranges were not inclusive and things like that. They just kind of ignored or maybe fired their Black employees. I don't know the story completely, but it is somewhere on Instagram. I'm sure someone has it and you could easily find it. It's just a brand that's like, I can't recite all the info off the top of my head, and I'm not trying to preach to you not to support them. I'm just telling you that I read that story and it just was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm going to avoid Milk, but it's not really a brand that I'm interested in anyways. I have their bronzer, and besides that, I'm literally not even interested in anything else from the brand. So it's not something that I feel like I need to educate myself on because I'm flat out canceling them. It's just like, I don't care about Milk anyways, and here's another reason why I'm not. I know that there are a bunch of more brands, but honestly there aren't any more that I can think of that I'm actively avoiding. I just know Hourglass and Nudestix are the ones that I actively was enjoying their stuff, and I was not consistently, but I was relatively recently I was buying from them, so it's one that I have more info on and more of a stronger stance on because I was actually buying from them versus a lot of these brands like I wasn't buying from in the first place. So I can't honestly think of more. I know I'm missing some, and I know Kyla has a better list than me, but honestly I don't know, I just don't feel like talking about brands that I wasn't even buying from in the first place because I feel like it's kind of pointless. Does this make any sense? Do you guys like this video where I'm telling you about brands that I have enjoyed and I do like, but I'm no longer supporting, or just brands that I don't support? I don't know, because I know there are brands like Becca with bad chain ranges, Flower Bakery, what is that brand called? Beauty Bakery. I know they had issues with their employees. Just brands like that, but it's like I don't buy from those brands, so I'm just not gonna buy from them even though I haven't. So I don't know. That's all I really have to say. I don't want to start talking on subjects that I don't have that much info about because, like I said, Hourglass and Nudestix are the two big brands that I'm no longer supporting, that I actually have products in my collection. And then there are just a few others that I have in my collection that I'm no longer, I don't know, I just don't care about the brand in general. I know Ilia and KYLA'S are two that kind of 2021 is the break point for me if they don't expand. I think KYLA'S, especially because I have more of their products, I think a lot of people excuse their shade ranges when their bronzer shade range is just not good, and their concealer launch had a bunch of issues with colorism, I want to say. I Again, I'm not completely sure about this topic, but there is a video from someone on YouTube about the issues with their concealer launch and them advertising using like only white creators and issues on that. And KYLA'S is a brand that nothing has interested me that they've released, and I really need them to expand their shade range. Same with Tower 28, they need to expand their bronzer shade range. Ilia, they need to expand their bronzer and foundation shade range. And those are just 3 brands that I'm not purchasing from anyways, and I'm not flat out saying I'm not supporting the brands anymore. They're just like, I need to see improvement this year. Otherwise, those were just empty words. So this video was kind of all over the place because I didn't plan very well, and definitely Kyla is going to have a lot more to say about this than me, but I feel like I don't want to rant about brands that I don't even mention on my channel in general anyways. Like, I'm not going to mention all these drugstore brands either when I don't even know anything about those brands, if that makes sense. I hope you guys like this format better. I don't know, I'm like ranting at this point, so I just need to end the video. So definitely go check out KYLA'S because she definitely is better about this than I am. And also I think she's tried a few more brands and has a bit more research. I have a lot of saved tabs on my Instagram. I will just save things when I hear a new story come out. Oh, I'm also not supporting MAC or anything from this company because they had a whole issue. I don't know enough information to recount the story, but they're not cruelty free anyways, but they had a whole issue with a black woman in their higher up ranks that they did something very bad to. And I'm not going to recite anything more because I'm going to say the wrong things and someone is going to get mad at me. But that story is on Instagram and you could probably easily find it. I think it's all of Estee Lauder brands. They had a big scandal come out recently. So this is a brand I'm not supporting, and I completely forgot to mention that. But if you have any questions about other brands, about my stance on them, just leave it in the comments and I will be sure to let you know, like, hey, I didn't know about that. Can you inform me a little bit more? Or yeah, oh yeah, I forgot about that one, because I know I forgot about stuff. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, be sure to check out KYLA'S video for a more in-depth and a more longer list. I don't know. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, Kyla, for collaborating with me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!